Hey guys, welcome back to RIPP Superchargers, and today we're standing in front of a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee with a Pentastar. This is the Summit Edition, which means it has all the fancy stuff in it. It's a pretty great car to drive around. This one happens to be part of the RIPP Garage. It's actually a high mileage vehicle, it has about 84,000 miles. So for those of you worried about putting a supercharger on a high mileage car, there you go. This vehicle was well maintained prior. We did all the proper testing to check whether or not the engine was in good form to hit boost, which means we did some compression tests, and there was very little, differences in terms of balance between cylinders. We replaced the spark plugs with new iridium spark plugs and gapped them down. We flushed the coolant. We naturally did an oil change, things of that nature. All things to prep the engine for more power. Stock Pentastar powered Grand Cherokees in all-wheel drive, and this is an 8-speed. Okay, we'll make about 200 horsepower at the wheels. 198 to 207 seems to be the number that we get out of them all the time, and this one's no different. This one here will make about 200 horsepower at the rear wheels. Now, when you add a RIPP supercharger to a vehicle, you're adding an entire system. The system is comprised of a supercharger, an air filter, a front-mounted intercooler, all the piping that goes with it, new larger primary injectors, a new map sensor, and a little Diablo that tunes the vehicle itself, or a little programmer for the actual PCM, which will have a tune for the vehicle. This vehicle has a standard tune in it. There's no fancy tuning here. So the horsepower that we're measuring today is in all-wheel drive. So this is an all-wheel drive dyno. What you'll see is the front and the rear wheels moving, and we're measuring horsepower at the wheels. Now, what the manufacturer claims, Jeep, this vehicle has, let's say, 298 or 300 horsepower. Okay, that's at the engine itself. That is before the transmission, before the air filter, before the air conditioner, before the alternator, before the all-wheel drive system. So the horsepower that we're talking about here is the actual brake wheel horsepower found at the wheel. We see a lot of the comments and a lot of emails and a lot of questions whether or not we're actually demonstrating the correct horsepower. Those of you who drive around the V6 Grand Cherokee in all-wheel drive, please know that you're driving around about 200 horsepower at the wheels, and that's getting you down the road really well. What helps that is the 8-speed. The 8-speed is so well matched in terms of gearing that you're always in the power band and it doesn't feel too slow. Those of you towing, we can help you with more power at the rear wheel naturally to get over those crests and stuff. These cars have great tow capability. So maybe a boat or a small trailer or a camper, whatever it is that you guys might be towing behind your Grand Cherokee in whatever format you have your Grand Cherokee, we would help with that as well. So that being said, we are strapped down to our horsepower measuring machine, a dyno, and I'm going to make some noise and then we'll talk about the horsepower, okay? One second. Well, fantastic. So, got some fans off here. See what it is that we laid down. 340 horsepower, 0.9, because it didn't want to give me 341 today. Okay, so, and about 300 pounds of torque as well. So this is pretty much in line what we're looking at some of the other cars that we're doing. Okay, it is all-wheel drive, therefore it has a little bit more drivetrain loss, so you have to sort of, account for that. Now this system is the standard system. There's really nothing fancy here. We're talking about just some plain old tuning. Just straightforward stuff that comes out of the box. Now, 340 horsepower, coincidentally, is more horsepower than a 5.7 liter Summit or a Grand Cherokee would put down, and more than a Durango as well, which has the same engine. It's also more horsepower than a 5.7 car would put down. So that being said, you're really mimicking and actually exceeding what you can get out of a 5.7 heavy. So actually, to be completely honest, since we've done so many SRTs, this is very much and very close to, about 40 horsepower shy, of a 392 bone stock vehicle, stock air filter, stock exhaust, things like that. So even those vehicles, in terms of what kind of experience you're going to get, is very close to that. But definitely 5.7, very close to 392. So thanks for stopping by. Enjoy.